feel like we haven't really talked about Justin Fields as much. How do you guys feel about him so far? And what does he need to improve on? Or at least, what do you guys think he needs?
I think it's really hard to tell because the way they're using him, they're not really letting him throw the ball that much. They're kind of using his athleticism a lot, which is a plus. But in the quarterback, you want him to be able to throw to receivers and be
He
able
ain't
to.
really got none. That's the thing.
Yeah, he doesn't really got none. And remember, we had this conversation about Lamar too.
Lamar Jackson, yeah.
Lamar Jackson is like, okay, how do we evaluate a quarterback if they don't have any weapons? I like Justin Fields. I think they should let him kind of wing it to see, what he has has in that accuracy and arm. I think if they give him the opportunity and give him some weapons, I think he can be that quarterback.
I definitely agree that he could use some more help. He's one or two weapons away from being a superstar. I still would like to see the coaching staff give him a little bit more of a leash though, because when you look at the numbers, they barely pass. They're last by a couple hundred yards, and so they're really focused on the rushing game. I like to see them try to get Mooney involved. Kmet, he was supposed to be the next big weapon, and you barely hear about him now. So try to get some of these guys who are at least a little bit talented involved. What's the running back, the guy who backs up Montgomery?
Oh, Herbert.
Oh, Herbert's been a beast.
Why are you not using both of them? You see how successful Chubb and Hunt can be. Herbert's got some talent, so why are we not trying to get them guys out of the backfield? Try to get Fields some bootlegs, just some easy throws. Make it easy for the guy. Let's get some passing yards, man. Passing league.
What the problem is the O-line. So it becomes a tuck and run, and they become rushing yards over what should be passing plays. He's getting double digits in attempts every game in terms of actual dropbacks. Especially, since the complaint, right? Because I think the complaint was Green Bay, where everybody was like, well, hold on, why are we not seeing more of Justin throwing? Ever since that game, because first game against San Fran, he had 17 attempts. Second, he had 11. Against
11's
Houston,
unacceptable, man.
So yeah, and he went 7 for 11 that game. So in Houston though, but ever since that, 17 against Houston, 22 against the Giants, 21 against Minnesota, and Minnesota, he had that good second half where he ended the QBR that game 118. So I think there's a confidence building as he's going on through the season. I think he's figuring the game out more, because I think it's a lot of just overthinking, bro. I really think it is. I think it's just trying to do too much. I think Getsy's starting to understand simple is better. We run with Montgomery. We get Montgomery yards. Then it's better opportunities for boots and play actions and stuff like that. And that's where he's really good. It just moves him out the pocket, extends plays. But in reality, I don't think, obviously, weapons would be better, right? We would want more wide receivers, but I think the number one thing that in order for him to survive is and have more time is the line.
But their run block is on point. I've seen the Bears run block.
That's what the O-line's not terrible. The coaching staff needs to scheme things better. Get the guys some quick throws where he's not forced to stand back there and make these long drops, get some screens and things like that.
And I feel like it's the red zone too. I feel like they can drive the ball, but once they get to the red zone, they break apart. And it's always that it's been the same for the Bears for years. And I don't know what it is what they can't do with the smaller field. It just seems like,
I think the biggest thing is I think it's a culture thing, and I think it's just built within Bears franchise to be a run first team.
What would be okay, this is good going forward with Justin Fields?
My thing is being consistent. Consistency is what I want to see.
That's fair.
I think week in, week out being well, that was a bad game. What are we doing? Oh, well, he's got talent. We see the talent, but we're not seeing what's the next step. Maybe this next game is the next step. Oh, okay. It's the same thing we dealt with Mitch. Mitch's problem was he was inconsistent.
Because there's definitely times where he definitely shines, and You know, he gets out of the pocket, does this whole thing. You know, ends up scoring touchdowns that way too. And then there's times where he'll make some passes and you're kind of questioning it. And I definitely see where Brandon's going with that. It's kind of that consistency where it's like, where's the smart plays all the time? And I think that's just going with him growing. I think he's definitely. I think he's gotten better though. I think last year he was definitely having a hard time trying to see the difference in pace between the NFL and college, but I think now he's starting to really feel it. A lot of guys are looking up to him more, so he's definitely got more control with it. So
the reason I ask because it's a quarterback league, you know what I mean? So
definitely
that next year's draft, there's a bunch of quarterbacks. It's supposed to be a really good class, so it's like I don't know if the Bears are like, okay, we need to see something this year, or we're gonna go a different direction.
I don't think they're quite. I think they're gonna let him ride for a little bit longer. I don't think he's the issue. I don't think we really feel like he's the issue. It definitely does feel like it's the coaches. And again, it's the first time these coaches are getting together.
Right.
So it's kind of hard to really judge them right away. But I feel like as far as Justin though, I think I feel confident with them. I know a lot of people are on the fence still, but I definitely feel confident with them. I think he's a great asset. I think he's definitely going to keep going. I don't want another quarterback battle like they tried to do with Mitch so many times, and I think Justin's kind of definitely earned that spot in my eyes.
I think the biggest thing, the comparison, and I think it's we know everybody knows the coaches because you got guys like Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen that have a consistent offense.
Exactly.
Consistent coaches. Josh Allen, when he first was drafted, was like, okay, who's this kid? And as every year's gone, Josh Allen got better, and now he's like MVP caliber.
But he got more weapons.
No, yes, that's understandable. Which is understandable, right? But that was the same thing, though. Josh Allen didn't have weapons when he first got there. It was one of those things where it was like year after year. It was like, okay, is he going to be the guy? Once they're like, oh, he's the guy.
You got to build around those type of guys for sure.
Yeah,
you surround them with weapons. You design a scheme for the talent. Like you really invest in them, and like you say, like continuity is important. Like having the same coaching staff around for multiple seasons is going to help a guy versus the guy who's had 7 offensive coordinators, and you know what I mean, like
7 years.
Right.
For real.
Jay Cutler, 6 offensive coordinators in 6 years.
I don't want to get into Jay Cutler conversation.
That stuff matters.
Yeah,
it is tough.